plug in the right system. All right, let's try that again. Oh, not coming through very well. Don't know if you can see that. I had to do a little adjusting. Sorry about that. And round 3. There we go. Taking a couple steps back from the last game we played here. I had a little bit of this the other night when I was just hooking everything up and testing it. AT-ATs look a lot different. Now they really look like camels. This is the Empire Strikes Back on Atari 2600. I think this was the first home Star Wars game, if I remember correctly. When those little glowy parts show up on the AT-AT, if you can hit that, it'll destroy them right away instead of having to hit them, 1,000 times. Then that's the Force that's being used, so you become invincible and you just sit there and shoot them. If you've taken any damage once it's done, you're set back to being healthy. And they're handy to being able to hit those weak points. One thing to point out real quick, look at the scrolling in this game with the foreground and the background. For the Atari, I mean, that's pretty amazing when you think about it. Considering a lot of Nintendo games didn't do that. At least not till later. Yeah. It was all usually one single scrolling background. There we go. There we go. I remember liking this game a lot as a kid. I liked a lot of Atari games. Something I always used to like to do is just do this, just go really fast and smack my little ship on the bottom. Oh, look at that. There we go. Gotta love those Atari sound effects. Sorry I'm not reading the chat right now, I would, but Atari doesn't let you pause. That was one of the things that was amazing about Nintendo games. Like, you could pause this and, like, stop and go do something. Like, I can take a bathroom break. I could at least play this until I run out of lives. But because I'm so good, that might be a while. Or until the AT-ATs get to the far side of the screen. I don't know if you can see the little map on the bottom, but if they reach the far right, they reach the base and game's over. And that was the thing about Atari games, is that they were modeled mostly after arcade games, so there was never really a point, there was like, wasn't an end in mind, usually. It was usually just, you know, who can get high score. So, that's something that definitely changed with Nintendo, is that the point was to try to beat the game, not just get a high score, because when you're at home, you know, who cares? And that's kind of how I always felt, you know, I was never really about the high score of the game, and that's why I think I liked Nintendo games better than arcade games. Yeah, I only had to do it one more time. I get better at hitting those spots. This game's gonna be over pretty quick. Oh, look at that. Champ. Ow. Probably hear me mashing on the button here. Oh, the other thing, like, I know I've talked about this before on the Bits and Pieces podcast that Anthony and I do. Going from the Atari controller to the Nintendo joypad, 2 buttons messed the guy up. I mean, really. I mean, like, who could think at that speed? So, you know, that I didn't know how to handle that. You know, there's nothing to hang on to. You know, I gotta use my thumb to move around. Like, that's the thumb I use to fire things. So, that was a big adjustment going from Atari to Nintendo. If anyone else ever had that issue. Well, I felt the same way, like, when the Super Nintendo came out. Like, the Genesis controller I was okay with. I mean, okay, you know, it's 3 buttons. It's a very similar configuration to the regular Nintendo. I could handle that. But the Super Nintendo, it's like you got 4 buttons here and then 2 on the top. I mean, that's way too much thinking for a guy to do playing video games. You know, It wasn't quite as bad for the PlayStation, but it was still like, why do you need 4 buttons at the top? Jeepers. And no one likes the Xbox controller, I mean, let's be honest. Yes, I'm a little Sony fanboyish. I've never liked the Xbox much, mainly because it's so first-person shooter heavy, and I can't play first-person shooters. I get motion sickness, so I'm just never playing. And besides, who needs to play something like Halo when I have the greatest first-person shooter in existence in Duck Hunt? I mean, come on. Getting close to the end of the screen here. The more damage you do to them, the slower they go, so that always helps. I used to be good enough to be able to, get it to where there weren't any AT-ATs left on the screen. Listen to that, it's practically running at me right now. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the chat at all right now. I don't know if anyone's even saying anything or if anyone's even watching. But, I can pause these old games like that. Back in my day, we had to go to the bathroom in our pants because we couldn't get up to leave. Ooh. Could have killed me. Killed. Getting close. Like that. Oh dear. We're getting too close. Gotta let those Atari sound effects. Ooh. Pass this one. We'll get a good shot in. Get him on that little whip point whenever it comes up and flash it. Can you hit it? Oh. Didn't make it. Let's catch up with the chat here. True about the Death Star. That guy did need to get fired. It does look like an older phone.